All right. So we're out here on a nice morning. Starting to get a little late, as always. Come on. Come on, baby. Oh, almost. There we go. So, like I said, it's getting a little late. You can see we've got kind of like two cloud layers. The lower one, it's got some movement to it, but I don't know if it's too much. There's only one way to find out. It's 5 minutes to 9, so it should be okay, but our winds are picking up, though. We're kind of on the edge of, like, potentially being able to do a reverse, but like that would be good reverse right there. But then it kind of shifts direction, pitters out. Here in the center of the state, winds are not consistent in any way, shape, or form. But actually, it looks like it is getting more consistent. So we might actually get ourselves a reverse this morning. But hopefully today the audio is a bit better. I'm still learning, but I've got a new microphone on the way that should hopefully be better quality. But in the meantime, I put one of those furry microphone covers on that should hopefully do a little better job of cutting out the wind compared to the foam one that I was running. All right. Let's see. I don't know. Well, screw it. I guess let's try to hook in for a reverse. I haven't been able to do a reverse in quite a while. So, see how that goes. So, actually, there we go, like that. Yeah, like I said, it's been a little while since I've been able to try a reverse. Forget which way to flip things. Of course, gotta wait for a good cycle. Alright, let's see what we got. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. Woo! Gotta get through that boundary layer. Pretty bumpy. Look at that, the wind shifted down there. Now it's coming straight from the pool, it looks like. Crazy. Gain a little bit of altitude. And see how the air feels. So far, it is pretty bumpy. We're jostling around, but it's nothing that's super concerning to me at this point. But these clouds up here are moving pretty fast. Makes me wonder if I should stay below them. They've got some velocity. And technically, I'm not really supposed to fly through them. They've actually got a lot more color to them up here than they did down below. Let's shoot the gap right here, though, if we can. It still feels pretty smooth and controlled, so. But. Whew. Pretty bumpy. Pretty cool. There's some clouds right next to us. We're right in a nice little hole here. Still have visibility to the ground, but feels like the intro to a movie. Just coming right past this cloud. That's pretty cool. I don't remember what the production company or film company that has an intro like that, but it felt just like that coming through there. Pretty cool. Yeah, it's actually surprisingly smooth up here. Once I got up past the cloud layer. Woo! You feel like the rush of speed as you turn downwind. Pretty cool. So, we'll throttle back a bit. So yeah, one of the things that I wanted to talk about today was the reason that I had 2 motor outs. Obviously, you know, a motor out can be a pretty serious situation, especially at the altitude that I had my first one. So your decision-making skills really come into play, and you really have to make a decision quick and make the right decision quick. Otherwise, things could go very wrong when you have a motor out at, I don't know, it might have been 75, 100 feet, something like that. So basically, my first motor out occurred on my second ever flight, and whenever I got down, I got the motor started, but anytime I went full throttle, it would like kind of sputter and bog and want to die out. So I did some carburetor adjustments on the high jet on the fly, and it just seemed to make it worse, no matter which direction I went. So at that point, I kind of shut it down, and I gave up for that day. And I started looking through my fuel system, and what I found was that the primer bulb for my fuel system that, you know, primes the tank, or primes the carburetor from the tank, was leaking. So I was getting air in from somewhere on that primer bulb. So I replaced that primer bulb, and I also replaced the fuel line that was going from the primer bulb to the carburetor and from the primer bulb to the tank. There was also a bulkhead fitting into the tank, and there was fuel line inside of the tank. Now, it seemed like it was in, you know, pretty good condition. However, I wanted to replace it. But when I went to do that, I found out that the fuel line that I had gotten from like an auto parts store was too stiff, and it wouldn't relax, so that the fuel line would lay down in the tank, like hang down and get to the bottom of the tank. So I'm going to climb up a little bit and get over this cloud. Should be enough. So I didn't end up replacing that fuel line. It was a little looser than I wanted it to be on the bottom of that bulk side fitting in the tank. And a lot of people have, a negative opinion of using zip ties or cable ties for fuel lines. Man. So I wanted to safety wire it because I thought that would be a safer way. And what ended up happening was my safety wire was putting a little bit too much pressure on one area of that fuel line. Woo! Big bump. My motor is starting to do that weird thing again. It's like surging. But I don't know if it's just the wind. As a mixture of the wind and the motor, I don't know. I didn't do the maintenance that I said I was going to do after my last flight. So essentially, what happened is that safety wire put a little bit too much pressure on the on that fuel line in that spot, and it ended up cutting the fuel line. So that's why I had the motor out on my third flight. So I ended up ordering some more fuel line online, and I got some better quality Tygon fuel line. And that allowed me to redo all the fuel lines with that Tygon. And I also decided that I wanted to eliminate the bulkhead fitting that was going into the fuel tank. Essentially, what I did was I removed the barb that was in there, and I just passed the fuel line through that like compression fitting or whatever you want to call it, whatever style fitting it is. And this boundary layer is real bumpy. Plus I'm kind of passing over this road, so I'm going to get some thermals. So essentially, I eliminated that bulkhead fitting, and it seemed to just kind of simplify the fuel system, which I really think that the more connection points that you have, the more possible points of failure you have. So I really prefer to minimize those connection points. But yeah, so ever since then I've got 3 flights on the motor, and I haven't had any motor outs, which is good. I don't know. I am having a weird intermittent surging of the motor. So I think I really do need to kind of do some maintenance and rebuild the carburetor and stuff like that. But, whew, jostly. It's getting about 9:15, so, and the wind is definitely picking up, so it's bumping me around quite a bit. So I think we're gonna drop our altitude, make an approach. On my approach to this particular landing site, there are some power lines that you can see on the other side of the road here. I don't think that they're really going to come into play, especially it looks like right now we're basically we're basically into the wind right here, this heading. Woo, bumpy. So that'll kind of allow us to have a little more distance from the power lines. But yeah, we're going to see what we can do on shooting an approach here. I'm going to go ahead, stow my brake, not just let go of it. Trim in. I think I still have too much altitude, but pretty much all these houses are under construction, so there's no one actually living in them. So, and most of the time we've been flying over the trees, but I'm going to try to make an approach more from this angle over here, and kind of shoot down along this like drainage area, and then make a small left turn into like a base or final approach, whatever. That's base to final. So we're gonna follow this on base, final into the field. So. I think I released that brake a little too soon, or too harshly. And I think I've got too much altitude. Yeah, I definitely have too much altitude. And look at that, the wind died as soon as I started making this approach. But that's cool. We're going to go around. It's hard to kind of judge. Rather, this landing site is smaller than my last one, but definitely on the smaller side. And I would prefer to be flying, from my normal spot that has a bigger landing area. But unfortunately, I don't want to burn that spot. People looking out looking out the window at us. Yeah, I don't want to burn that spot and be flying from there every time. I kind of want to try and respect it. So yeah, I'm going to try to avoid flying out of there all the time. I think we're good, so I'm going to kill the motor out of my seat. Hands are up. A little bit of flare, Oh yeah. We kind of got turned a little bit there at the last minute, but woo! That was a nice landing. We're on our feet. Yeah, I don't know if the wind shifted on me or what happened, but I'll take that. That was a nice landing. We're on our feet. Maybe I flared a little early. The last few times I've been flaring too late, and I've been coming down too hard, landing on my butt. So, but yeah, it was a relatively short flight, but it's definitely getting windy and jostly up there. So, yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. So, at the end of the day, my advice for you, if you were either to buy a used motor like I did, or if you bought a new motor but you've been running it for a little while, they have like operational windows you know, you're supposed to rebuild the carburetor every 100 hours or a year, I think is what the spec is on that. And I think, you know, like the piston is like 200 hours or something like that. So I don't know if there is a recommended time to replace that fuel bulb and the fuel lines associated with it, but I would definitely recommend that if you buy a used motor, just replace them when you get it, because, you know, even if the person who had the unit before you took really good care of it, you know, you don't know what kind of environment it's been in. And, you know, it could have been sitting in a garage for 6-9 months because the person that's selling it doesn't have the time to fly it. And things don't like to sit. You know, carburetors tend to get gummed up. You know, fuel lines tend to dry out and crack. So I would recommend going through all that stuff and replacing it if possible when you get a used paramotor. It's something that I didn't do and I should have. So I paid the price for that, obviously, as you can see in the video. So, but anyway, thank you for joining me on this flight. It was fun. I'll catch you guys later. That hadn't been fun as all